broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Go hard for the money, I'm always around to come take it from me. I lay it down.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You are tuned into AFTERBUZZ TV for Empire Season 2. I'm your host, Bamm Ericsen, and I would like to introduce the panel.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Kennelia.
Hi, I'm Sofia Stanley.
I'm Bamm Ericsen, and Emile Ennis Jr. He's not in tonight, but he'll be back next week. So let's dive into this episode 6, A High Hope for a Low Heaven. Okay, Becky got a man.
Aww. And he was putting it down, too, like she said.
Poor thing, she couldn't walk.
He was hitting the corners, I think what she said.
And that she could barely stand. But I do have to ask this question. Is Becky too digmatized to handle working with someone she works with?
Well, I kind of actually am not sure why you asked that question.
The reason that I'm asking is because she was caught off guard at the meeting when Andre asked her the question, and then Andre has noticed what's going on, and so I'm wondering, will there be a problem? Also, she wanted to get up. Also, she didn't basically want to get the wand that night. They were laying out on the patio because she had to get up to go to work because her new boss, Dre, blah, 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 and he put it on her. She couldn't walk. So I'm wondering now, will she allow this guy to distract her from her ultimate goal, which is to
be an Empire executive?
Yeah.
I don't think and this is more of a prediction. I don't think that's going to be the problem between him and her. Because of her reaction when he was rapping on stage and when he started spitting the Bible verses and what she had to say about it, I think that's going to play more of a part in their relationship than him putting it down and her not being able to focus because the D is so bomb. So, I don't think that that's going to be the reason why, but I do think something is going to happen with their relationship.
I'm going to piggyback on what Kennelia just said, and I think specifically because the way in which she said to Lucius, I don't think that Andre understands basically like the foundation of Gutter Life Records, like he's coming from the wrong perspective. I feel like she was saying that, and that was before her boyfriend performed, because in essence what Andre was saying, people are only going to make the bottom line if not only if they're God-fearing, but if they adhere to Andre's newfound Christian status.
Yeah.
So in her mind, she's thinking that's not good for business. She's, worked her way up. She used to be an assistant. Now she's an executive, and specifically for a record label called Gutter Life. So I think that it actually proves that she's on her game, but I think that the split may happen not only with her boyfriend, but possibly also with Andre, because I think that her viewpoint or her ideals and how she sees life may not be in line with a boyfriend who could be God-fearing as well as a boss who is God-fearing.
Agree. I think it's a mix of it too. I think her just being in love and giddy is going to play some part, but I also believe that the religious aspect is going to play a part, because if you notice, she's very very fun and loving and just very kind of like almost like a party wow girl when she's with Jamal talking about how she can't walk and this, but then he's rapping about Romans 17:5, and so I see conflict. But now let's go to Andre. Why don't he just start a Malaco Records, Gospel Centric, what other gospel labels are there? Air Gospel, just...
No, you're right.
Because again, the record label is called Gutter Life.
But you're not,
and I'm not. And let me preface. There's a big difference between something being called Gutter Life versus even Ghetto Ass Studios, right? Ghetto Ass Studios is completely different, and Ghetto Ass still theoretically could have like a Christian base. But when you say gutter, like that's kind of synonymous with like hell, bad, dirty, filthy. It means like we really gonna come raw and grimy with this, and that's presumably why Lucius put Freda on Gutter Life and not one of their under one of their other labels. You know what I mean? I think that Lucius is very strategic in the standpoint that he is you know, whatever it's called, like reigniting or rising up this defunct label, because he really thinks that for Empire to kind of go to the next level, they have to return to their roots, i.e. they have to return to the street. So I think that's where I have a problem with Andre, where, yeah, dude, are you thinking business? Because if you were thinking business, I think, Bam, your point would be valid. Then cool. Then basically say to your dad, I actually don't want to be the president of Gutter Life Records. I don't think that's in tune with how I feel personally as well as professionally. Why don't I create a separate label? We'll call it Gospel whatever, or you know, the
Gospel
Holy
Dynasty,
Empire, something
yeah.
You know what I mean, and then kind of then pull certain artists regardless of their style, but people who adhere to and or speak to that element of who he now is.
And not only that, but there is no connection. And also, can you just turn me up a little bit? There is no connection between him and the artists. When he was having the meetings, trying to figure out who he was going to keep, who he was going to let go, there is just no connection. I mean, he comes off as if he doesn't even listen to rap music. And I understand that in some of the bigger record labels, a lot of times they are not familiar with the artists and they see dollar signs, but
it's annoying. It's frustrating.
Very.
Agreed.
No, everything you guys said,
Agreed.
I agree with.
And this is maybe a little bit, this is going to come off like shade, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of actually mean it this way. There's also an aspect, I think, that Trey has created a new space for this character that I really, really like, because it feels authentic. And the way in which it feels authentic, when he was at that table speaking to the artist, and even, let's say, for instance, what's the guy who actually
J
is
Papa.
J Papa, when J Papa was like, oh, it stands for Job. The way in which Andre was like, seriously, dude, like, what do you know about that? I found that extremely condescending. Right? Like, do you really think that you're the only person who walks with God?
Right.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? He was coming to me not only from that executive, like, money talk, he also was coming from that condescending, like, I'm saved and you are not.
And also,
You know how somebody just joined the church.
Completely.
They first day in the church, they like, they know everything about the
just because you're suited and booted and you're the president doesn't make you like any better than anyone else. So any of those other people, even the dude who was like, do you want to join? Doesn't make sense, could still have a relationship with God and be saved. So I felt that it was very condescending, but then also very symbolic of other people who kind of wear that on their chest.
Yeah, agree. And then just one last thing before we move on is then I wonder how is this going to pan out, being that these artists don't like him. Freda was popping gum. There was no connect. And so I wonder, because he's in charge, will all the artists say forget this and then I'm just going to leave, or like, what do you think is going to happen with this gutter ball or gutter whatever?
Life.
Yeah.
Let's keep it reality. You don't like every exec at your label. A lot of artists, when you're just starting off, and these artists aren't just starting off, but you're not gonna sometimes like the top dude. You're just not. But if he's doing what he needs to do for your artistry, so is he pushing your music? Does he have a marketing team behind you? Did they put a plan together that works with what you're bringing to the table? That's sometimes what you have to focus on, not necessarily if you like the person,
right.
Because you can ask any artist out here if they like their exec. Half of them will probably say no, and the other half will probably be like, oh yeah, he cool. So I mean, I don't really think it matters if they like Andre. I'll leave it at that.
Funny thing is, that made me think of something. Now I'm actually going to talk out of the other side of my mouth. There's been a part of me that actually felt like the artists actually were very disrespectful. Do you guys remember Diddy's Making the Band? But the first iteration, not the one where he had the girls, not one with the boys, but the beginning part when it was the large group.
Yes, I do.
And remember, he made them do something like, let's say, like go run and get something, and people like didn't do the task.
So
and then
Junior's cheesecake.
Junior's cheesecake, and then also he had another thing where, let's say, the meeting started at 9:00 and there were people who were late, and he's like, "Yo, what do you mean you were late?" And the person was like, "Oh, well, I didn't wake up in time." He was like, "Yo, you should have slept here." On some levels, if you think about it, I don't care if these artists are brand new or if these artists have been in the game for 10 years. We're going to make the assumption that Empire is the equivalent of Rock Nation. Let's just kind of put it into perspective. Or I'm going to do another genre. Like, it's like having a meeting with Quincy Jones or Clive Davis. I don't care who the hell you are. You need to basically be like, yes, so no, sir. Like, the basis of my music is where I grew up, and like, I'm so happy to be here, sir. Like, there needs to actually be some modicum of respect, because you are literally talking to the president of your label, let alone the son of the owner of the entire company. So on some levels, I actually think they were very ill prepared, just from like a more of a music executive business 101 perspective.
I 100% agree with you. Really quickly before we go to Jamal, what did you guys think about J Papa's song that he performed? Just curious.
Well, I didn't expect that much, because to me, he's Tyler from Sons of Anarchy. So I didn't know that Tyler had bars. So when I saw him, I was like, oh, shoot, look at Tyler. But so I didn't think that he was going to come in on some Nas Illmatic. I didn't think it was about to be Stillmatic.
It wasn't Illmatic. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it was
so I didn't think.
I got that.
It was Ill and Still. So I didn't expect much. It was fine. It was fine.
The old school beat just threw me off. I couldn't really get with it, because I felt like I was watching an old Ja Rule performance.
See, I actually thought that the track that Lucius was trying to give it to everybody sounded like an old Ja Rule song. I was waiting for every day. Like, the whole time I was like, is this a Ja Rule song? But
well, make sure though that you guys let us know what you think. Did you think that J Papa's lines were Illmatic, or did you think they were Stillmatic? You can do that by going on iTunes and checking out our podcast, Empire AfterBuzz TV podcast, and make sure that you leave a comment, because we read absolutely every single one of them. Rate 5 stars, please. Comment and tell a friend. So again, make sure you go to iTunes, stop exactly what you're doing, rate 5 stars, and tell a friend. And if you're watching on YouTube, then make sure to stop and give us a thumbs up.
Okay, so continuing along with music, let's talk about Jamal. He is wearing me thin with all this damn singing. Kennelia and I, we were talking about it earlier. Bro, is this Midnight Love? What's with all the slow jams, bro?
He's sad.
He's been sad for 2 seasons.
He's sad. He finally got his man back. And not only does his man leave him, he literally let some random ass, straggly ass, old photographer wannabe has-been below him on his own balcony. Yo, bro, he's sad.
But we got the inside tea when Raphael was here. Jamal opened up the floodgates with this whole open relationship thing. And if old boy wanted to give him the sloppy toppy, he got the sloppy toppy.
But it's like, what do you mean? We all know in relationships when people are like, do whatever you want, that really means don't do shit.
I don't know.
But be like, oh my God, I love you forever and I don't want to love anybody else. That's what that means. We all know that. So he thought it was going to bring them closer together, especially, again, not that lame dude. Like, I prefer Ryan. I prefer Ho Ryan to photographer dude. Like, if Michael was like, oh yeah, he's kind of cool with his faux hawk, that I can get with.
Well, really quickly, my thoughts on that whole Raphael. I'm sorry, the whole Michael thing. I think he was doing it to prove a point. Mm-hmm. But, I mean,
he probably has like a snaggletooth and I forgot this is like a sorry. I forgot this show was supposed to be PG. Yeah, I was gonna sorry, that was about to be a real grown folk moment.
I was sorry about that. I was so disappointed. Why? But anyway,
but yes, I mean, this is the thing is though, this is gonna sound funny, and this is gonna sound weird. Even though while I'm watching, yes, there's a part of me that thinks like, oh my God, Jamal and his singing, like on some levels it's beginning to become repetitive. However, and I can't figure out another way to say this, it's almost as if both he and Hakeem represent like the soundtrack to the show. It's almost like if you would have how there's like other types of like plays that have like a narrator, that's what it is. Jamal is able to sing feelings or sing what's going on, or more importantly, sometimes foreshadow like the next scene in his lyrics. And so I think that the only way that could be done effectively is in the booth, because it's another form of storytelling. So that aspect of it, that I think that they're using Jamal's lyrics as part of the script, like part of the actual dialogue, in a seamless manner, I actually do like it. So I dislike it and like it at the same time.
I'm a confession.
Yes. Confessions.
I actually don't like his singing voice. That's what turned me. That's my problem.
Is it his complete range, or is it that this episode he did seem to be going into a like a higher pitch, like a little bit of a whiny, which is a little bit different than his normal tone?
I've actually never liked his singing voice. I've just never said anything about it because he has a kind of voice. I'll compare just in choirs. When you have a choir, you have somebody. When you have that, when you have someone that does say like the anthem, you get that high soprano. When you get that toe tapper, you got to get a screaming alto. And then when you get that nice Baptist bump, you need somebody that can really take it home. And he has a voice that I only want to hear on certain songs. So it's just wearing me out, so I can't even focus on the lyrics. Although I did write it down, it has something to do with the something deltas. Like I felt like Delta John to Alpha One. I felt that there was a message.
I don't know what song that is, but that's a throwback to another song.
But anyway, so Staples Center. So he's complaining that he can't get into Staples Centers because his he can't fill the seats.
Yeah, they said. What did he say? He said that he's too narrow of an artist for their demographic.
And I'm trying really not to bash him, but the problem with Jamal is you've had maybe one album, one EP, and you haven't put out any music because you're in a slump. Yeah, you can't sell out the Staples Center by yourself. Get over yourself and either sing or get off the pot or do something, but stop complaining like a baby.
Well,
no, go ahead.
Well, I took it as realistically. Are we going to call him an R&B artist? Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, as an R&B artist.
No, I don't know.
What do you consider pop?
I think he infuses pop and R&B.
So he's pop and B.
Okay, then for the sake of this argument, I think it's better to call him pop.
So let's call him pop.
Yeah.
Usually, if you're a pop artist and you're aiming to book stadium, style venues, you have to have pop hits, like the straight upbeat tempo Katy Perry style hits. If you do not, then you are to assume that you cannot book the Staples Center, and they will not give you that venue. They'll give you the Nokia Live.
Yeah.
They'll take it down a notch. So realistically, to the amount of albums that he has, the type of songs that he sings, I'm not surprised that he didn't get Staples. I wasn't even thinking of it as a something because he's gay. I was thinking that's just not, you're not in that arena yet. Go to the Nokia Live and shut up.
I think you're 100% correct, but I think it's just that given the nature of the email, I think there would have been different if they said something like your album sales don't merit you performing at Staples Center. That would have been kind of very definitive and more businesslike. I think there was something about the language and the tone of the email is I think that they really were saying, and I think that's why he latched onto that, but arguably he could be latching onto it just because he is a little bit of a superstar in his own mind. I mean that to actually be a little bit dismissive. But I think you're completely right that an artist of his caliber may not at the point where he is in his career be able to sell out the Staples Center. But I think it really was the language that was being used that I think he had a problem with. And arguably, when he actually went back in the booth and he said, okay, I'm going to fire my whole marketing team, I actually don't have a problem with that. And I actually don't, and I think I said something completely different a couple episodes ago, I actually don't have a problem with him reaching for the stars because I feel like the minute you're hot, whatever little 15 minutes where you're on that rising supernova, you need to take everything that you can get. So right now, he is a hot artist. He was on the cover of Rolling Stone. His dad is producing his album. He is thinking, I need to basically make as large of an imprint as I can because I don't know when I may no longer be relevant. And I think that he's also thinking to himself, given the way that everyone else is coming at him, it doesn't make sense that the Staples Center wouldn't want him. And I think that if you don't have marketing people telling you, oh my God, you're the best, yes, they need to be realistic. But I think that what he was saying specifically with his dad is, if in fact his dad, who is the driving force of his career, thinks that it's okay to market him as a gay artist, that is going to put him in a smaller box. And arguably, if those are the notes that his dad is giving to the marketing executives, like, oh, only book him at LGBT events, then that's going to narrow his market, which is different than the head of the company, who also happens to be his dad, knowing that he should be marketed as a pop artist? Or what would we consider Adele and Sam Smith?
Adele is pop, but
okay, because I would then he's pop, because I would put him in there in that kind of like, you know,
okay,
why does no one love me?
I'm gonna be messy now, because I like the fact that Jameson has come into the picture, and so now I started thinking, okay, well, is Jameson trying to get in them draws, as Kennelia would say, simply to pay back because maybe he couldn't get in Lucious draws?
oh.
Floor is open.
Well,
why do I not have tea?
Come on, like he's oh my god, he seems like a very connected man. They made a point to let us know that if he has time doing all that he's doing to lock in on Jamal just to get back at Lucius and getting the draws from Jamal for that reason, then he got too much time on his hands. Sir, you don't got nothing to do. I understand spite and being petty. I totally understand it. But young man, I don't know.
See, it's funny.
Oh my God.
I hadn't necessarily gone down that road, but I actually think that Bamm is correct. And the reason
you think he's trying to sleep with him?
And this is the only reason why. From the dynamic, it's obviously that he is just as powerful, if not more powerful than Lucius.
Lucius, that's right.
And think about it. What did Lucius say to Frank Gathers before he killed him? He was like, not only am I going to sign your girl, I'm going to give her this wood. Simply out of just like that's that alpha egomaniacal maniac, like, yo, I'm gonna take everything that belongs to my enemy, and if I have to take it in that manner, I will do so. That's the first part. The second part is there was something about the tone of what Lucius said when he said to Jamal, there are several types of vampires in this business. Some that will suck your blood and some that will try to suck your... And then Jamal was like, Dad. To me, what that shows is there possibly is a backstory, and it's not just that Lucius didn't want to sign with him because he was gay. To me, the fact that he keeps mentioning these quote-unquote parties, that he throws these parties, that he tries to influence political elections, it means that this guy is so powerful that basically at one point he was literally like, okay, cool, you want a deal, you gotta suck my...
See, I took it as Lucius being a typical homophobic dad or homophobic dude who equates everything to getting your thing sucked. It's always gonna be some crazy parties, like, you know, at those gay parties.
But
I took it as him just being old school and ignorant.
But I think that it's kind of alpha males, if we're being stereotypical or making a generalization, alpha males in those types of positions, that's exactly what they do. It regardless of sexuality, they're trying to bone anything that they can, sometimes because the people are cute, and sometimes just for a power dynamic to let them know you are literally beneath me and I can do whatever I want. And I think that Lucius always has a problem with people who assert the same, if not more, power than he does, especially someone who is gay, given the fact that he's homophobic. Because then that adds a whole nother layer of dominance, specifically as it relates to someone who's homophobic.
100% agree. And then I can even reference Hakeem. Hakeem is slowly but surely doing the same thing. He's using his power to smash girls. It's the same thing.
Okay, but let's back it up. Hakeem is 19.
Yeah.
Maybe 20. That's what 20-year-olds do, even if they're not musicians. 20, if you go to college, if you go on the campus of Clark Atlanta right now, you got 20-year-old dudes who ain't really got nothing going on trying to smash every girl on campus. So that's, to me, that's different.
But look how many old men bag these little young 20-year-old, 25-year-olds. What do you think their agenda is? I'm generalizing.
Well, that's just men, though.
Right, and
y'all
that's
nasty.
yeah, and so that's
just playing.
And that's the point. Straight, gay, bi, tri, high, bi, whatever. Sometimes it's better to go after people through a loophole in order to get to the person.
I'm gonna get myself in trouble this episode. I realize that.
What's happening?
I was just about to say something else. I'm trying to keep this PG.
Okay.
Sorry, just don't mind me. Keep going.
All right, let's go into Hakeem, the whole kidnapping thing. Okay, I'll say this. There was a dumb move on both parts. Hakeem and Kennelia, give me one of your funny names for them.
Which one we talking about? The
trifling dudes, the ones, the idiots who showed their backs.
Oh,
give me a name.
Daquandres?
Thank you.
The Daquandres?
Yes, the Daquandres gang. I think it was necessary for Hakeem to actually get beat up and popped in his eye, only because when you are trying to be about that life, you've got to be able to get an ass beating every once in a while, and he needed that ass beating because I don't believe Lucius, with your hands tied behind your back, all you have is your feet, and then you're gonna talk shit to 3 guys who you don't know have a gun or anything. Like, he needed to be popped on that level. But the Daquandres,
let's call them the Day-Days.
The Day-Days.
Oh, I like that.
The Day-Days. To not make sure that he's secure and tight and everything, so that, like, how many times have you watched movies and you know that you're not supposed to make yourself visible? So they're dummies.
Well, Hakeem deserved to be punched in the eye just because he said, "I'm Hakeem, third wheel." Duh. Duh. We took you. We know who you are. We saw your video. We saw your video on VH1 Soul. So we know who you are. As far as like the logistics, I mean, it had to be simple for him to shake the thing off so we can see his reaction to where he was and his surroundings. They had to punch him in the eye because if you're held hostage on TV, you get decked in the eye. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't really bothered by that. I will say, and some people on Twitter insinuated that after he was released and after everything went down, they were kind of alluding to possibly the idea that he had been raped while he was in custody.
Captivity.
Yeah,
captivity with the Day-Days.
While he was being held captive. So I didn't notice that until someone brought that up.
I didn't notice it until you brought it up too, and then it makes sense why when he was asked to be released by homie in the van, he went straight to Boo Boo Kitty. They both just as drippy, sweaty, just as nasty as they want to be. Wait, Woman of Musa Place. How just as naked as you be. I seen you. Okay, sorry.
I saw ya.
Forgot to close your shave last night. Okay, but anyway, they're just as sweaty and nasty as can be, and they're making out. So I do wonder if potentially something did happen to him. I just thought that he was traumatized through the whole ordeal.
I thought that too until they brought it up, and now I don't know. Because you can see both sides. If that did happen, I see Hakeem coming to Anika and approaching her the way he did and having sex with her the way he did as a kind of a way to prove to himself that what happened to him didn't really mean anything, that he still is the man that he is, and it didn't affect his sexuality. But I can also see it as him being traumatized and him feeling like he just needed some type of connection, knowing that he can't go to his mama, or if he sees Lucius, that things wouldn't go that way. So I can see both sides to it. I don't know what the hell happened.
Funny thing is that, again, I can see both sides, but I am going to definitively say it did not happen, and I'm going to tell you 2 primary reasons why. The first of which is, given the fact that we, towards the end of the episode, and even if we didn't know that there is some kind of connection with the kidnappers, again, we need to remember who Lucious Lyon is, right? It is one thing to kidnap his son. It is another thing to pop his son in the eye and ask for $40,000. It is another thing to sexually violate him. Mm-hmm. You sexually violate the youngest son of one of the most powerful business people in this country, who actually has legitimate street cred. You're dead. You're dead. Does it make sense? Like, that's one step too far. The only way that is plausible is if the person who took him is actually crazy, that they don't want money. It's going one step too far. You still have to be logical enough to know that you don't want people to come back at you with the full aggression that they're going to do. Again, if you sexually violated Lucious Lyon's son. That's the first part. The second part is, I don't care if Hakeem is 16, 17, 18, or 19. If in fact that happened, when we fast forward to the scene where he has the meetup with the 3 guys and he pulls the gun, he would have pulled the trigger. There wouldn't have been a pausing. There wouldn't have been anything, because part of the way that arguably, unfortunately, and I don't mean to get deep, but I have to, fortunately and unfortunately, the difference between the way that men are socialized and women are socialized, men, for the most part, don't have to ever deal with that level of aggression and violation and that vile of something happening to them. Every ounce of their brain, if given the chance, would pull the trigger on their violator. There would be no hesitation, because unlike women, they're not socialized to take things. They're not socialized to make it be their fault. He would have immediately pulled the trigger. There would have been no, who's not talking now, who's not whatever. He would have shot him and shot him again and shot him again and shot him again. If in fact they later on allude to the fact that in fact happened, I will remember this and I will call them out, because then that is bad writing and that is bad editing.
Oh, good point. So let's just go into him being traumatized. He's blaming the parents. Do you think that Lucius and Cookie are to blame for him being kidnapped and for him going through what he's gone through?
Yes, but then they're also to blame for your success.
Thank you. I was trying not to.
You should have had security.
Okay, yeah.
You should have had security, one. So if you want to take it on a surface level, you go jogging in the park with nobody watching you.
But then again, that's where I have to put a little responsibility to Cookie, because Cookie is allowing her baby to be a man when he's not quite a man just yet.
In regards to what? Not like security and stuff like that?
You ain't no like special forces. Like, that has nothing to do with being a man. Does it make sense? Like, you now are a public figure. You need security. Like, literally the only people who could have stopped that attack are The Rock, one of those. No, seriously, The Rock.
Cool J,
one Ella.
Remember he beat up that burglar.
Damn. Well, because he looks like The Rock,
burglar.
right? You know what I'm trying to say, or maybe like Ronda Rousey. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Those are the
what
only
about
people.
Idris Elba?
My boo wouldn't get into a battle like this.
Do that, Bam?
My
That was
boo
just
wouldn't get into these
unnecessary.
types of battles.
That would be unnecessary.
Jeez, man. No, I mean
He pull out a gun and pop that.
oh my god.
Because he's not too street to be Bond. But
Rappers do what other rappers do, and other rappers have security. So Hakeem not having security just isn't realistic to the fact that he's 19, 20 years old and he's a rapper and he sees all of his peers with goons. That, to me, that's just
Or,
silly.
exactly, and even if you don't have security, that's why your crew is goons. Like junkyard, street yard, then you have to have that in your crew. You need to have someone in your crew who is that grimy, who's willing to take the charge.
Somebody
Real talk,
with the
in fictional
nappy
life.
braids, some
In
dude
fictional
with the
life.
nappy braids need to be rolling with Hakeem.
Seriously, totally juiced up. You know what I mean? Has done a lot of push-ups inside.
What do you guys think about the fact that Laz convinces Cookie to hire the Day-Days to work for them?
It's Cookie. Okay,
before we even go there, can they just give Cookie like just one episode? Can we just have one episode where she has like a love interest and there be nothing bad behind it?
There was. We had
But that was like leading up, and then all of a sudden it was like, bam, you fired, you gotta go. You know what I mean?
We had him for a little bit.
Because remember, everyone was insinuating that he was bad, and I kept saying he wasn't.
Yeah,
but
but
at the
we
same
did.
time, I still was
We
like, but maybe.
believed in
But I was
him.
like, but maybe he was bad. You know, I don't know.
We had Derek Luke.
This is my only thing with Cookie is it's not a matter of that he tried to convince her, because that actually on some levels makes sense to me, right? My problem is this, is that for someone who presumably keeps talking about how street she is and was actually inside for 17 years, there's a certain level of like a strategy that she seems to be lacking. So if he's like, okay, cool, hire the wolves that took Hakeem, and she's like, no, I don't want them in my house. Okay, cool. But there has to then be a rival to them. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Then go get them. You do have to get somebody. So she's like, no to that, no to normal security, no to former police. And to me, that interaction with them pulling a gun in their face, if you thought that was going to stop it, I'm kind of confused. What would have stopped is if you actually shot one of them.
Yeah.
And again, only in TV land. But in TV land, she should have actually killed one of them dead, because I think they need to know I'm not motherfucking playing with you. Sorry, I had to curse. It was relevant.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Agree.
Yeah.
Okay, Hakeem and Lucius. Lucius has a song. He gives it to Hakeem to perform. for him that he wrote. He doesn't want it, and so now he gives it to.
Hold on, before that, because I think this line was great. He was like, "Dad, there's always strings. Actually, ropes that choke you."
Yeah.
Because he was like, "No strings. Shut the hell up. You a grimy mofo."
No, Lucius is grimy. You
Very.
see how he was cheesing in the crowd, and I'm jumping ahead when Hakeem was performing and he started to choke a little bit. Lucius was smiling, like, yeah. And then when he came back and redeemed himself, Lucius was like, damn.
And literally,
walked out.
and as he was smiling, did you see how the frame went in and out? Like, you know when they like they do that pull back and that whatever, like distorted? It was literally, he was smiling. It was like the devil himself trying to pull Hakeem into hell with him. And when he couldn't do it, he was like, "Oh, all right, I'm gonna go off to fight another day." No, seriously, like Lucius
Fight another day. Oh my god. To fight another day.
So the performance, Freda.
Yo, I'm Team Freda. Yo, I can't even. Let me stop. I'm gonna get geeked. Sorry.
Yo, Freda flew across and kicked old boy. Remember Two Scoops from American Gladiators? Yeah, y'all remember Two Scoops? She flew across the stage like Two Scoops. Like, remember he used to jump over those cars? She flew over there like he used to jump over those cars.
Oh my god. What was her lyric? Like Jackie Chan. She was like, "Yeah, he was ugly now."
Lyrically, she's great. She's super great. The only problem is, little girl, if you are going to get into this world of hip hop, so you think that every time somebody comes for you, that you are going to
no one's gonna do that again.
That you're going
I guarantee you, ain't no mofo.
But listen,
gonna be like, "Oh, you ugly, get off the stage," and be that close to her stage.
But
no mo.
Men will continue to do that, but the next time, rather than come for her, they'll just kill the bitch. She needs to.
I don't know. In TV
Just
land,
kill her.
I thought that was great.
I'm sorry.
You
She
know
needs to
why
die.
though? No, you want to know why?
Dang, she needs to die, man. Killed her already.
Oh my, he's always killing people. No, this is the thing is, and I don't know. I don't know that this. I know a little bit about hip hop, but I don't know enough to know like the underbelly of it. And yes, I know that it's about like in the moment, like, you know what I mean. You're going blow for blow, but on some levels, like, dude, the only thing you can do is call her ugly.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, duh, irrelevant. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm not saying she's attractive, but she's not a model. She's a rapper. So you really don't got better than that.
Of course
for
not.
me, even though I love the scene, what actually was a little bit irritating is like, dude wasn't even actually spitting fire at you. All he was saying, he was like a random heckler. He was like, "Oh, you ugly, you don't got no, you corny. Go back to wherever you're from." That shouldn't have gotten you so riled up. It would have been different if he like actually started to battle her, did something kind of more lyrically where she then should have lost her focus in the way that she did. If she can't handle someone saying she's ugly and that she should get off the stage, yeah, then maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you ain't as street as you think you are. Even though I loved when she did the flying kick. And I love how she then dropped down on him and just clocked him in the balls. I thought it was great. Again, I don't condone violence, but in TV world, that shit was great.
And final thing, what did you guys think about Cookie gets it on with Lies, and then boom, we see the tattoo. No, Adam Rodriguez.
I mean, I have to go back to the earlier scene. The way that he pulled her over and just like had his hand on her back.
Smooth.
And the way that she kind of was like, "I don't know if I'm going to do this or not." You know what I mean? And just the way he kept her stare, and he was like, "I ain't afraid of nobody, not no lions or the lionesses." And the way he kissed her, and then the way that she leaned back, and that was the foreshadowing. Because at first, after she kissed him, when she leaned back and she looked in his eyes, she saw something. That's actually why she paused. I initially thought she paused just because Cookie is very vulnerable and is aware that she doesn't like to be in that space, but there was something else, that little flicker that she saw, that she was kind of scared.
Maybe it was the D. Maybe she, hey, since we're going there, maybe she was like, "I'm gonna get the D." And then
I hope they at least get to smash like a couple good more times before we find out he's bad. Like on some real talk. Because I know that they had to take off the shirt to foreshadow that little thing on his back, but Lord Jesus. Woo! nah, like Laz, like yeah.
I will save that what I have to say for predictions. But before we go into cold piece of the week, I am told to read the this live read. So be sure to check out our affiliate network, Black Hollywood Live, for all things in African American entertainment news. And you guys can check out www.blackhollywoodlive.com or you can catch all shows on YouTube and iTunes. So again, blackhollywoodlive.com, and you can catch everything on YouTube and iTunes. So now let's go into Kenelia's cold piece of the week. DJ, drop it.
Cold piece of the week for Empire season 2 episode 7, I believe, goes to Brashear Gray, aka Yas the Gray. Not because of any of the scenes dealing with music, we always see him rapping or spitting bars or doing something musically, but he really has been stepping it up with his acting. So I just want to really give him cold piece of the week, especially in the scene where he was staring in the mirror and he rushed the mirror and he was yelling and he spit and then he punched the mirror. Right there, I was like, yo, he really is in the gym. And when I say in the gym, in the acting gym, he has stepped it up. So for that reason, I'm gonna give Brashear Gray cold piece of the week. Cold piece of the week goes to Cookie's blue suit that she wore when she went to the warehouse. Girl, you better get it with that blue suit. Cold piece out here. Let us know who you think cold piece and cold piece of the week should be. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook using hashtag cold piece and hashtag cold piece .
And did you also peep the outfit wardrobe she had on?
The purple lilac
with the lions print on the
with the yellow skirt.
Yeah. What? Okay, so now let's go into predictions.
And now your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
My prediction, I'm not necessarily saying that I really think this is going to happen, but this is what I hope. I hope that Cookie eventually finds out that Laz is a bad guy. He's so bad that she does not know how to solve the problem on her own. So she calls up Derek Luke, has him come back, and he saves the day once again. That is what I want.
ditto.
And I want him to come back with the same hair he had in the hard part.
The hard part.
He has to come back. He can't come back with a fade or a Caesar. He has to come back with the natural and the hard part.
Ditto.
Okay, my prediction is I actually think that although Laz is clearly the bad guy, he is going to really fall in love with her, and it's just great for a primetime soap to be on the bad side working, but then you know your motive was to do one thing and then you want to fall in love. So I think that's clearly where that's going. I can't wait to see how this Becky and J Papa relationship goes. I'm really happy she's in love. She has a man. I don't know why, but I'm really happy. But I don't think it's gonna last long. So poor thing.
I have one more prediction too.
And Freda, girl, bye.
Laura and Hakeem. I like those two together. I like that dynamic. I like the performance. I really like them around each other, and I like seeing it.
What's her last name? Velasquez, the actual actress.
Oh, I forget.
I don't know why. I think it's like Jamila Velasquez. Excellent actress. Like, I need to look her up on IMDb. I don't know what her creds are, but to me, I'm just presuming the age that she is. Like, same thing like with Bashir. Her level of acting is seamless. Like, she just literally came in, and I actually forgot that she's a new character. Mm-hmm. She fits that well in with the storyline, the rest of the cast, everything. Yeah, so I just needed to do a quick shout out for that.
And I know we forgot to discuss Booba Kitty, but we can talk about that online. So make sure you guys follow us on all social media and let everyone know where you can be found.
If you are a conversational mixologist and you only like your podcast unfiltered, then make sure to check out our podcast, Happy Hour, A Shot of Conversation, where we only serve things straight up. Happy Hour, A Shot of Conversation, available on iTunes. And if you want to keep the conversation going with me, Sofia Stanley, you can hit me up on Twitter and Facebook at Sofia Stanley, or on Instagram at the Sofia Stanley.
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Kennelia.
And you can find me on all social media at Bamm Ericsen, but also you James Bond fans. There is a new video game called James Bond World of Espionage, and I am one of the characters in the video game. I play Agent Khalid, so check it out. James Bond video game, World of Espionage. You can see me, and thank you guys for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV for Empire Season 2, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.